You're building your very first tackle box and you're wondering what to put in it? This is gonna be my suggestion, and because it's us, Tackle Bros, this is gonna be the JDM edition of what to start off with in your very first tackle box. How's it going, guys? Travis here from Tackle Bros, Tackle Prez on Instagram. I am with Johnny and I'm with Ashton, so put both you guys' things here. It's pretty sweet. Today, I wanted to talk to you guys about the baits I would start out with if I was just making my very first box. These are the baits that I need to have with me at all times. I don't leave the house without them. They're always in the boat, no matter what, no matter where I'm fishing. These cover most situations that I feel that I'm gonna encounter when I'm out on the water. So I thought it would be cool if maybe you're starting out with your very first tackle box and this is the very first video you've ever seen, or maybe you've been fishing a very long time and you're looking for some baits to maybe add into your arsenal that I can highly recommend to you. This is gonna be a sick video for you to watch. Now, I'm gonna cover a little bit of everything. This isn't a smallmouth specific one, although some of this stuff is very smallmouth forward, but there's also a ton of awesome stuff in here for catching giant largemouth. There's finesse, there's power, it's a little bit of everything. It's a really good mix, and like I said, if I could only have, I don't know how much stuff I have here, between 5 and 10 things, these are gonna be the things that are gonna make it in my boat. Now, I'm gonna start off with the obvious, okay? You need to have a jerkbait. If I was gonna have a jerkbait and I could only have one, I'm gonna go with the Megabass Vision 110 Junior in the +1 size. So specifically that Junior +1. A little bit smaller profile, a little bit deeper running. The Junior is sort of designed for that 6, 7, 8 foot. You can get a little bit deeper if you downsize your line. This is just an absolute killer. Now, compared to the regular Vision 110, I think this has a little bit more of an erratic action. I go to the Junior size mostly because it's a little bit closer to the size of bait fish I have in my area. I can fish this a little bit shallower if I want, just by going up in line. And then I also have that ability to get down to, 8+ feet, depending again on what line I'm using. I fish a lot of 10 to 15 foot range, so this size is kind of perfect. The color I have here is Northern Secret. It's not a secret anymore. This is one of the best colors for up here in, sort of that northern area of the US, southern Ontario area. It's just an absolute killer. You have to have a jerkbait if you're gonna be fishing. If you wanna take fishing seriously in any capacity, you need to become at least somewhat of a decent jerkbait fisherman. It has so much draw. If you're fishing forward-facing sonar, one of the best baits. If you're not fishing forward-facing sonar, one of the best baits. It just has that draw that tricks even the most intelligent fish that have seen everything. Once you start getting them fired on a jerkbait, they're just gonna keep eating it. It's one of the most effective ways to catch bass, and I don't think that's gonna change anytime soon. So my number one thing that I'm gonna suggest is that Megabass Vision 110 Junior in the +1 size. Color, go based on where you are, but I really like this one. GP Pro Perch is another favorite of mine. Next up, we're gonna look at some more of a power fishing technique. This is what I'm doing when I'm in and around grass. I'm trying to cover a lot of ground, just sort of feeling out where things are. And that's gonna be a bladed jig. Now, the one I'm gonna suggest to you is gonna be the Bumblebee custom bladed jig. The one I'm holding is the Narrow. You can go with the regular. I really like the Narrow when I'm in and around smallmouth. And sometimes if I feel everybody's throwing that regular size of bladed jig, I'll go down to the Narrow just to have a little bit of a different pitch. But either way, if you're going with the Narrow or the original, I like a 3/8 ounce. It just seems to be that key size. I can really tick the tops of the grass with this. It comes through everything beautifully. If I could only have one trailer, it's gonna be the Gary Yamamoto Zako. So generally what I do is just try to pair up size and color. The 4-inch fits this thing perfectly. They also make a 3-inch. Just rig one up for you just so you can see how beautiful this looks. So this is the Bumblebee custom bladed jig. This is gonna be the Narrow version. So the blade on it is actually quite a bit smaller than the original. It comes with a super sticky Ryugi hook, hand-tied skirt, tough to beat. So we're just gonna take this guy. So this is the Yamamoto Zako. Just gonna line this up. and bam. That is one of the toughest reaction bites to beat. You're not gonna beat a reaction bite on a bladed jig. You know, it's been catching fish for a long time. If I was bank fishing or fishing out of the back of someone's boat, this is generally something that I always have tied on. Catches giant smallmouth, catches giant largemouth, spots, whatever you're targeting, a bladed jig has to be in your boat, in my opinion. Let's go back to something a little bit more finesse and something that I take very, very seriously. That is going to be a spybait, specifically the dual Realis Spinbait in the 80 size. Now, spybaiting is something I don't mess around with. I mean, we can have a little bit of a subtle flex here, but that's my 80 box, that's my 70 box. I don't play when it comes to spybaiting. This is something I throw year round. I have multiple setups on the boat at all times. I've taken a real personal interest in trying to master the spybait. I think it's such an underutilized tool. People are scared to use because of the hookup ratio seems to be a problem, but what I've found is a lot of people are just not using the right rods. Now, we've done a whole video on rod recommendations and all that onto the spybait, so I'm not gonna get into that, but the spinbait or spybait is going to be something that you need to have into your arsenal. So this is going to be an 80 size. I'm going to recommend an 80 size for this kind of kit that we're building together. And the reason for me recommending that 80 size is it's just a little bit more versatile. Now, I spent a lot of time throwing the 70 this year. I love spybaiting in shallow water, and that fall rate on the 70 is perfect for how I fish. But the 80 is going to be a lot more versatile in different depths. Now, if you're fishing super deep, you can go with an 80G fix. It's gonna be about 1 gram heavier. And if you're not familiar with spybaiting, I mean, we should start there. It's basically a eye motion bait that doesn't really do a whole lot. It has this prop on the front, a prop on the back. They're spinning. It doesn't make a ton of sound. There's no knocks in it. It just kind of spins and has this little wobble as it comes through the water. Super easy to fish. It's a cast and retrieve. If you're targeting specific fish, it has a great shimmy fall as it's just dropping down. I've caught more fish on a spybait than almost anything over the past couple years. It is just one of those baits that is, again, underutilized by a lot of people. A lot of people shy away from it because the hookup ratio, if things aren't perfect, can be a little bit of a problem, but it's a fish catcher. A lot of guys basically throw this in with just smallmouth. I catch so many largemouth on the 80 size, the 90 size, even the 70 size this year. Caught a ton of them. This needs to be in your arsenal if you want to be especially if you want to be a serious smallmouth angler. You should be throwing a spybait, having one on your deck almost all year long. It's kind of misconceived that this is just a cold water technique. I use this from early season this year. I used it in April and May, and I've used it this month, August, November, and so on. So something you need to be throwing is a spinbait. The color that I'm holding up is called Shiner. This is a Great Lakes color. Shiner is a great one. Ghost Wagasagi came out this year. Ghost Perch came out this year. Both great colors. Just sort of match the hatch, and if you can go Ghost if you're in clear water, I highly recommend that. Who likes throwing swim baits? Me. I love throwing swim baits, man. Swim baits is something, again, you have to have swim baits if you want to be a serious angler. This year, specifically, I've fallen in love with this combo that just is like a match made in heaven. I've been throwing it for a long time, but this year has kind of been really eye-opening for me. That's gonna be the Nishine Smelt head with the Keitech Easy Shiner 4-inch. You can use a 3-inch, you can use a 5-inch, but specifically the 4-inch with that 2-aught Nishine Smelt head. Now, the Smelt head specifically, number one, profile. The profiles match up perfectly. I'm gonna rig one up for you guys just so you can see exactly how I do it. This is your Smelt head. This is your bait. So you can see it already out of the package. It's gonna line up pretty close to perfect. But what I like to do is see where that's kind of rounding off just a little bit. Basically take a pair of scissors and just cut it so that it's flat. And then I like to sort of line it up. I know where it's coming out. And then we just thread it until it comes out where I think it should. And then you have a perfect little swim bait profile on that Smelt head. Now, something in addition that you should be doing, because if you're familiar with Keitech at all, this is very, very soft plastic. You need to be soft to give it that action, but you also don't want to be changing this out with every little 1 or 2 pounder that you catch. So something you can do that's going to help you preserve that bait a little bit, you can grab these little Ryugi Inset hook keepers. I use a size medium. Again, we've done videos on this. This is nothing new. It's just something that I feel a lot of people are overlooking. If you are buying easy shiners at all, or you're buying any swim bait and you have some sort of a collar, you should be putting these little Inset hook keepers on. So it's very small. You're probably gonna have struggle seeing it, but there's that guy. Okay, you basically go in the bottom of the bait here. With this one's white, so I can see exactly where the bulbs are. You just kind of snap that in there. Now this will never come off. Look, like I can pull on this until it breaks. That's not gonna move at all. It's gonna let you have, I'm not gonna say you're gonna get 10 fish with this, but you're gonna get, you know, more than a half a fish with this. And that's, you know, Keitech is notorious for having that soft plastic. This is just gonna help you preserve that a little bit. This little swim bait combo catches them anywhere. Now, the key with this smelt head is, for you guys that are finding those deeper schools of fish, you know, 30, 35 feet, and you need something to get down, the smelt head is available in some awesome sizes, and it keeps that 2/0 hook. So this is a 2/7. They also make a 4/7, so just over ½ ounce. You can get down to those fish a lot easier, still have that supernatural presentation of the swim bait. It's a deadly, deadly combo, one you have to have in your arsenal, and one that's in this box. Let's talk topwater. Topwater is one of the most exciting bites you can possibly have. We spent a lot of time this year doing some awesome topwater fishing with friends all over the world. We're pretty lucky to be able to do that. The #1 topwater bait that is near and dear to me is going to be the Teckel Kicknocker. This is the full-size one. It also comes in a pup and a pup spec 2. That pup spec 2 is gonna have a secondary ball bearing in the back of it, which is gonna allow it to hang down a little bit. If you're getting short strikes or you need a little bit of extra casting distance, that's gonna be a good option for you. I'm gonna talk about the full-size version. This is probably one of the easiest walking baits you can possibly have. If you're not familiar with topwater walking baits, it is a crazy effective way to get fish to bite. This guy will basically just be up there on the surface, walking back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The thing that I love about this one is that it's gonna stay sort of in that key area with how wide the walk is, a lot longer than some of the other walking style baits. It also has a great knocking sound in it. It's not overpowering, but it's enough that it has that great draw. It comes with awesome components right out of the box, and it probably has the best color lineup in any topwater walking bait I've ever seen. There's tons of bone colors, there's blacks, there's gills, anything you could possibly want to trigger that aggressive topwater style of bite. If you're looking for probably the best topwater walking bait, check out a Teckel Kicknocker. Again, if you want to downsize, you can go with the pup. The pup is just a little bit smaller profile. It still has that beautiful Teckel Kicknocker walk. And then you also have that spec 2 if you want to get a little bit extra casting distance, or if you want it to just sit a little bit lower in that water column. It's just going to sit a little bit more butt down, but still comes up and has that awesome walking action that you look for in a bait like this. I had 2 more, but I'm gonna stop at 1 more. And then if we need to do another one of these, I still have tons of stuff that I can add. Now, pitching, flipping, punching, all that stuff is a key part of fishing these days, has been for a very long time. If I'm doing any of that, one of my all-time favorite baits is going to be the O.S.P Dolive Beaver, specifically in that 3.5 inch. The thing I love about the Dolive Beaver is the profile. You can see it's basically a pretty standard creature bait, but it's a lot more streamlined than most creature baits, a lot more slimmed down. The reason why I like this style of profile is it's a lot easier to do a lot more with. If you just want to flip in and around grass, no problem. You want to punch in through the thickest mats you can possibly find, no problem. This thing is going to be able to do a little bit of everything. You want a free rig with it? It's a phenomenal free rig bait. You want a secondary chatterbait trailer? This is a great chatterbait trailer. It just does a little bit of everything very well. It has a phenomenal dolphin kick style when you're sort of lifting it and dropping it, or if you're swimming it back to you and dropping it. It's probably one of the best fish catching soft plastics that I've ever used, especially in and around, you know, cover. You want to throw it on the back of a jig? I do it all the time. You want to flip a Texas? I do it all the time. It's one of those do everything baits that you should absolutely have in your arsenal. It comes in some other great sizes as well. If you want to go up a little bit, this guy's available in a 4-inch. You want to go down a little bit, it's available in a 3-inch. The 3-inch is going to have some more curly appendages down here, so just a little bit added action into it, but something that you absolutely have to have. This is the 3.5-inch size. My preferred way is on a 2-aught Ryugi Infini hook, and then I'll just put a little bullet weight up there. I'll peg it, usually a little bit off, let that weight have a little bit of movement to it, and yeah, it flat out catches them. So that is, I think that's gonna be it for today. I do have a couple more things on the table, but I think we'll leave that for another video. I think that with this base of starting, you're gonna be able to catch pretty much anything, anywhere around the country. That's gonna be down in Florida if you're flipping mats, or if you're up north trying to catch, you know, giant smallmouth. You're gonna be able to do it with the stuff in this video. If I was just starting, this is the perfect starter kit. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys found something useful in this video, and we'll see you on the next one.